Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be soldering again. This is my second time attempting to soldering a battery because my first attempt was successful. So something that I learned, this is not fitting. Something that I learned with these batteries is that there's voltage. I'm sorry, I seem to be missing one of my little screwdrivers to unscrew the back of the cartridge. I have this one, but it's too big, doesn't fit. So I will be right back as I go to find that tool. And back. I got the tool. So you can see, compared to the other one, this one is smaller. So as I was saying though, if you watched my gaming series, you'll notice that I mentioned blue version in the beginning of one of my videos, that the data, even though I was about to erase the save anyway, I loaded up the game and the save was gone. Which is weird because I had been using this without any problems. So I looked further into like battery testing, because I figured I probably missed something along the way, you know. And apparently I did. I did miss something. And what I learned is that these batteries don't just drop to 0 volts when they're dead. They can actually be at a higher volt than 0 when they're dead. And I'm not talking about less than 0.1 or less than 1 volt. I'm talking about over 2 volts they can be dead, or considered dead. So I'm going to turn on my reader here. And right now it's at AC, so I have to turn the function to DC. Alright. And red on positive. Okay, gotta. Okay. Here, no. Let me move that out of the way. Okay, so here and here. So you see how it says 2.8? 2.8 to 2.7 is considered a dead battery for these. Which is crazy to think about because they're 3 volts. But do you guys remember on my last video when I popped open one of these batteries from the pack and I tested the power of it? It was actually over 3 volts. It was like 3.2, 3.3. So we're gonna do that right now so you guys can see. Okay, so where is it at here? I know this is the positive side. And that's the negative. Pretty sure. Yes. Yes, I had to look at the battery pack. But okay, so this is positive, this is negative. So we're going to do the same thing, this newer battery, and you guys are going to see that it's going to be over 3 volts. Even though it's a 3 volt battery. See how it's 3.2? That's what I'm talking about. So that battery is technically dead / dying. So it works now, but it only works half the time. You know how the TV remote batteries, when they get low, you have to sit there and press the button over and over and over on the remote for the TV to actually do what you want? Well, that's kind of the same thing with these batteries. When they start to die, they work, but they don't work perfectly, and they have errors, like losing save data. So we are going to solder that battery out and replace it with the CR1616. So I know this is actually a CR2525, but CR1616s will work for these, and they're smaller. And the reason I did that is so if I ever, whenever I do get around to replacing the batteries in my newer games, such as Ruby and Sapphire, and when I buy Emerald, I will be buying Emerald, but I don't know if it'll come with a fresh battery. So these CR16s will fit in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. So let's get started. I already got my iron heated up. So the first thing is that I'm gonna have to pull it completely out of here. And I have this set up. I didn't use this last time, but I'm gonna try using it. But it's got teeth, and I don't want to put the teeth on any part that's going to get. Yeah, I gotta be very careful, as I don't want to scratch the traces or anything like that. And then I'm not entirely sure what I want to do here. Ooh, I kind of have an idea. So if I grab it like this, right. If I grab it like this, can I grab the battery somehow? It's gonna have to be more at an angle like this. And then I'm gonna have to turn this. You know what, that seems a little too complicated. But at least I have, we're just gonna do corner and corner. That way this thing is held still. And I wanna try to level it as much as possible. I don't know if solder will run or not, but I don't want to take that chance, you know, because I'm kind of new to soldering, so I'm going to try to have that as level as possible. Actually, to remove the solder, the old solder, I'm going to have it flat, because this pump, the vacuum pump thing, is actually kind of hard to press, and I have to like be real still with it. So okay, let's get into this. I am a little nervous still, even though I've done this before, but I mean, when you're working on something that you really like or really love, you don't want to tear it up, you know. Yeah. Okay. There's barely any solder on these. There's not a lot. There we go. And the other side here. Make sure I get a good angle for the pump. Hopefully I can do this cleaner than I did last time, since I've done it before. This isn't exactly my first time doing this. I need to put more of the head of the solder. Yep, there we go. There we go. Nope. Ah, shit. I had my thumb on here instead of the button. So let's try this again. Oh. Oh, shit. Okay. Let's try this again, because I didn't get it right. Really hope I'm not damaging this. I already see a burn spot, and I don't want to burn things. Oh, come on. Look at this. Did I actually pull solder off of there? No, the solder is under. That's why I'm having an issue here. The contact is exposed on the top, which is why it's being such a pain. Here we go. All right. Yeah, I burned something around the edge. Probably the flux, the old flux that was on there. So now let's see if we can just... Let me get my pliers here. And this is where we're probably going to need this here. Start putting that there, like so. And then put this one right there. So I have a little bit of weight. So I can heat it up and then pull the battery up. Because last time I tried doing this, the whole thing had a lifted off the table, and I'm not trying to pick it up, I'm trying to remove the battery here. There we go. I'll let that side cool. And then we will shift it around. I don't know if you guys saw me remove the other side just now. My apologies if you didn't see that. I have my save backed up, by the way. That save that I played already on it, I have that backed up on my PC, so that's not an issue. There we go. It is lifted. Old battery off. Oh cool, the old flux just scrapes right off with the fingernail. Sweet. Okay. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep the pads. Because I didn't do that first last time. You see how that went for me. I'm going to prep the pads. So what that means is I gotta put flux on the pads, and last time I put too much flux, so this time I'm using a Q-tip, but I removed the cotton from one end. Hopefully the fuzzies don't get in the way, because if you put too much flux on there, it just makes a mess, which you saw in my last video if you watched that section of it. So after you apply the flux, then you put more solder on there, and you let it cool, and then you put the battery on top, and then you heat up the battery end that sits on top of the flux heats up, and then the battery submerges into the flux, and then after it cools, you have a contact. So that's what we are going to do this time, and see if we can get it first try. See if our attempt last time of success is see if we learned anything in the process. I think we have. I have a friend that lives in a different state that was telling me about this stuff, and I showed them the video, the last video. You just need a little bit of flux. You don't need a whole lot. If you have too much, it makes a huge mess. Alright. We're going to try that. Gotta get my flux wire here. Or my solder wire, not flux wire. Okay. There we go. Got a bubble on there. There we go. There we go. There's 2 bubbles. Hey! Did that a lot better. And look how much solder I actually got on there this time. You see that? So one of the tips my friend gave me is to load up the soldering needle or the soldering iron, like the part that's actually hot. You load it up with the solder. When it melts, it sticks. When it melts, it sticks to the iron, right? And then you load up the iron with the solder into like a droplet, and then you just place or rub off the droplet onto the pad. That's what they suggested to me, and I mean, look at that. Combined with the flux stops it from running everywhere and keeps it in place. So wherever the flux sits is where the solder is going to sit. So that's why it's important to have very little solder, and you put it exactly where you want it, or want the solder at. That's important with the flux. So if you have too much flux and it creates a puddle, well, your solder is going to go everywhere, which is what happened to us in the last video. Whenever I was actually on this spot and ended up getting solder into these little 2 holes over here. Luckily, these 2 holes don't necessarily go anything. There's a dark green trace that goes around those 2 holes, but I don't think it interacts with those 2 holes. Either that or it didn't affect how the game is functioning. So, I mean, it works fine, but my solder got messy, and it's working good this time. So, that's awesome. So, the next step here is to make sure we have the battery on the right ends this time. So, top is negative, all right? The side with all the textured spots, that's the negative side. And then this arm here is going to come down and drop onto the negative end, which is this side right here. See the minus? So we're going to put that there. And then the positive side on the other side over here. So something that I could use is some small tweezers, which I don't have currently. That's one of the things I could use, some small tweezers. But I think if I grab this end here, like so, then I might be able to get this in position. Because last time, remember, I had this thing sliding everywhere. It wasn't working. So we're gonna heat this part up here. Try to melt that right into the solder. We're gonna have to get it pretty hot though. Get it heated up. Sometimes this stuff takes a while, but whenever it starts to melt, it melts fast. And I do have a big lump of solder here. I know the battery's getting hot too from doing this. But I didn't ruin the battery on the last attempt here. So I'm gonna try heating up that solder a little bit. There we go. See, that worked much better. Okay. So we got the positive side on. Wonderful, wonderful. So we're going to turn it around this way. And we're going to work on this end here. Kind of guide it right over the contact, kind of how I want it. And let that cool. Just like that. Looks like I did a decent job fastening. It's not loose or anything. So, let's see if that did the trick. So we're going to, I'm going to blow on it a little bit because it is warm, but let's see if that did the trick. Mediocre soldering. More like beginner. I don't even think I'm mediocre at this point, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Let me get my screw. Well, I guess we don't technically need the screw because this is just testing. If it works, then I'll you know, alright, that's always a good sign that, you know, the game's functioning. That means I didn't mess up the chip at all. New game. Yes, yes, yes. Hello, Professor Oak. How are you today? So what I'm gonna do is simply just get my my save file from the computer and then just put it over the top of this one. And make the name AAA because I don't care at the moment. It's just a testing save file. Yep. AAJ. It's like Aaron, but AAJ. Alright. We'll move one little spot here, and we'll save. I would like to save the game. Cool. Now we will turn it off and back on. We'll see. We'll see how well my my soldering held up. How is that contact? Aha! Success! And that is a reference to Dexter's Laboratory if you've ever seen that before. So, battery does in fact work. I mean, of course the battery works, but what I'm saying is my soldering works. Cool. Now let's put the screw back in here. Wow, and this was a lot faster compared to my first attempt here. Remember my first attempt, the video? Okay, so the video's got a lot of sped up parts, and it's got some parts cut out, right? It's a long video, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that the video didn't actually take me a full, like, 2 hours, okay? It really did. It took me, like, 2 hours. So I'm going to show you guys how I transfer my old save file, or not old, but the one that I just started for blue version. I'm going to show you how I put it back on here. So this is the blue version that I just soldered a new battery into. And I'm going to show you how my emulator works as well. So it's right here, and it's not even it's not technically an emulator because it reads the actual game but it says please insert cartridge here. So it's basically a Game Boy for your PC. And right over here, I have my Game Boy card insert or cartridge insert. So I'm going to pop this in here, and you guys will see the change on the screen whenever I click that in. Yep. So I'm going to set that down over here where I had it. And if I launch, you will see my save, my continue save that I just made. I'm going to open it up. Which button was A again? Because I don't use my keyboard when I play on this. I think it might be Shift. No. Here, let me just use the controller real quick. There we go. So you see, this is the save that I literally just made to test the battery after I soldered it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press escape for exit emulation. Yes, I want to exit. So now what I can do is if I go over here to data, I can upload a save, all right? Now, since I played blue version on my computer and I saved the game while on here, it puts a copy on the cartridge and then a copy of the save file as well on the PC. So it makes two saves every time I click or every time I save in game. So one on the cartridge that overwrites the old one, and then the other one on the PC. So if I click upload save here and I click start, I can go to where was this again? It was in app data, roaming, epilogue, operator, vault. So see blue version mute glitch save. Yeah, that's right before I started the mute glitch. So I'm holding on to that just in case I need it for some reason. So blue version, and I'm going to go to the newest save. All right, here we go. I think this is the save file right here that I need. 427. Oh no, this is the file that I literally... Okay, so whenever I start up the game, whether I save it or not, it automatically saves where I'm at in the game. Alright? So it automatically copies my save file whenever I load up the game, just in case anything bad happens. I have the save file, alright? I have my progress. So I'm going to delete this because I don't need this. This was the testing. Okay, so 422, 7:25 p.m. Alright? And I'm going to open that file. Now it just uploaded that to my cartridge. So now if I go back over here to play, and I launch, yeah, it's kind of cool because I can literally play it with an Xbox One controller. So continue. There is my badge, and I just finished beating Brock at the Pewter City Gym. Yep, there I am. So that's how you upload the save. It's actually pretty simple. I did add this in at the end of the video, and it was just kind of a last second thing, and I'm like, hey, why not show the viewers how the epilogue works? So I do enjoy this program. It does work well. Just make sure if you guys get it, get the epilogue. There is one thing you guys need to make sure you do, and that's go into emulator settings and then autosave to cartridge beta. Make sure you enable that because it comes default, or default it comes disabled, and your games will not save if you don't have this enabled. Just letting you know. Like, I've never been able to get my game to save with this disabled. So make sure you enable that if you do decide to get epilogue and set it up, because you'll play for a couple hours and then it won't save. Even it won't save anywhere, not to the computer or the cartridge, but enable that if you do. Well, that's all I got for you today. Keep watching my videos. I will continue to put out more content for you guys. I will see you on the next one, and remember, I gotta catch 'em all.